Expo 58, also known as the Brussels World's Fair, was held from the 17th of April to the 19th of October 1958. It was the first major World's Fair after World War II. Background: nearly 15,000 workers spent 3 years building the 2 square kilometers site on the Heysel Plateau, 7 kilometers northwest of central Brussels, Belgium. Many of the buildings were reused from the Brussels International Exposition of 1935, which had been held on the same site. Every 25 years starting in 1855, Belgium had staged large national events to celebrate its national independence following the Belgian Revolution of 1830. However, the Belgian government under Prime Minister Achille van Acker decided to forego celebrations in 1955 to have additional funding for the 1958 Expo. Expo 58 was the 11th World's Fair hosted by Belgium, and the 5th in Brussels, following the fairs in 1888, 1897, 1910 and 1935. Since Expo 58, Belgium has not arranged any more World Fairs. Exhibition. The site is best known for the atomium, a giant model of the unit cell of an iron crystal. More than 41 million visitors visited the site, which was opened with a call for world peace and social and economic progress, issued by King Baudouin I. Notable exhibitions include the Philips Pavilion, where Poémie Électronique, commissioned specifically for the location, was played back from 425 loudspeakers, placed at specific points as designed by Janus Xenakis and Le Corbusier. Another exhibition at the Belgian pavilion was the Congolese village that some have branded a human zoo. National pavilions. Austria. The Austrian pavilion was designed by Karl Schwanzer in modernist style. It was later transferred to Vienna to host the Museum of the 20th Century. In 2011 it was reopened under the new name 21er House. It included a model Austrian kindergarten, which doubled as a daycare facility for the employees, the Vienna Philharmonic playing behind glass, and a model nuclear fusion reactor that fired every 5 minutes. Czechoslovakia. The exposition, One Day in Czechoslovakia, was designed by Jindřich Santa, who cooperated with artists Jiří Tranka, Antonín Kibel, Stanislav Libinsky and Jan Kotik. Architects of the simple, but modern and graceful construction were František Cubr, Joseph Rubens and Nek Pokorny. The team's artistic freedom, so rare in the hardline communist regime of the 1950s, was ensured by the Government Committee for Exhibitions chairman František Kahuta. He supported the famous Latina Magica show, as well as Joseph's of Obidas' technically unique polyechron. The Czechoslovak pavilion was visited by 6 million people and was officially awarded the best pavilion of the Expo 58. Mexico. This was designed by the architect Pedro Ramirez Vázquez. It was awarded the exposition's Star of Gold. Paris. The city of Paris had its own pavilion, separate from the French one. United Kingdom. This was produced by the designer James Gardner, architect Howard Lobenamp, engineer Felix Samueli. The on-site British architect was Michael Blowett, Brussels-born and bilingual. USA. The US pavilion was quite spacious and included a fashion show with models walking down a large spiral staircase, an electronic computer that demonstrated a knowledge of history, and a color television studio behind glass. It was designed by noted architect Edward Gerald Stone. The USSR. The Soviet pavilion was a large impressive building which they folded up and took back to Russia when Expo 58 ended. They had a facsimile of Sputnik which mysteriously disappeared, and they accused the US of stealing it. They had a bookstore selling science and technology books in English and other languages published by the Moscow Press. On the exposition there was also a model of Lenin first Fast nuclear icebreaker and cars. Gaz-21 Volga, Gaz-13 Chaika, ZIL-111, Moskvich 407 and 423, trucks Gaz-53 and Maz-525. The Soviet exposition was awarded with a Grand Prix. The Federal Republic of Germany. The West German pavilion was built by the architects Egon Eyman and September Ra. The world press called it the most beautiful pavilion of the exhibition. Yugoslavia. The Pavilion of Yugoslavia was designed by the architect Vjenslav Richter, who originally proposed to suspend the whole structure from a giant cable-stayed mast. When that proved too difficult, Richter devised a tensioned column consisting of 6 steel arches supported by a pre-stressed cable, which stood in front of the pavilion as a visual marker and symbolized Yugoslavia's 6 constituent republics. Filled with modernist art, the pavilion was praised for its elegance and simplicity and was awarded a gold medal. After the end of Expo 58, it was sold and reconstructed as a high school in the Belgian municipality of Wevelgem, where it still stands. Gallery. Transport. As lots of visitors were expected, Sabina temporarily increased capacity by renting a couple of Lockheed Constellations. For the same reason, and well in time, it was decided to add a new terminal to the Melsbroek National Airport. It was to be at the west side of the airport, on the grounds of the municipality of Zaventem, which has since given its name to the airport. A very modern addition was the railway station in the airport, offering direct train service to the city centre, though not to the Expo itself. Several tram lines were built to serve the site. Those to Brussels remain in service. Mozart Requiem incident. The autograph of Mozart's Requiem was placed on display. At some point, someone was able to gain access to the manuscript, tearing off the bottom right-hand corner of the second-to-last page, containing the words, Quam Elimdi. See, as of 2012 the perpetrator has not been identified and the fragment has not been recovered. If the most common authorship theory is true, then, Quam Elimdi, might very well be the last words Mozart wrote before he died. It is probable that whoever stole the fragment believed that to be the case. International Film Poll. The event offered the occasion for the organization by thousands of critics and filmmakers from all over the world, of the first universal film poll in history. Bibliography. The Architecture of Expo 58 by Rika Devkison Amp Milde Kooning. Dexlia Mercator Fons, 2006.